What's up, YouTube? I'm Brett from Rants. As always, guys, if y'all enjoy our content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave that comment down below. Alright, so, just who is WandaVision's Quicksilver? Is he the X-Men version of Quicksilver? Is he Nightmare or Mephisto? Is he just the resident of Westview that Wanda has recast as her brother? Which one is it? And there's so many hints that have taken place throughout the last episode that kind of, I believe, unless I'm just thinking too hard into it, believe that it points that it's not the X-Men version. I do not believe for a second that Kevin Feige would bring that hot mess that was the X-Men franchise into his beautifully crafted MCU world. I just do not believe that. The X-Men, look, whether you love the movies or you love the franchise in general, which I actually do love the franchise. I do love the franchise. I just don't love the movies that come with them. I don't see how that could ever, even with Wanda's powers, create this or mix this world together where I guess they are infused with the world of mutants and the world of the MCU characters for a number of different reasons. I mean, you would have the world of the X-Men has, hundreds or thousands of years where people have been afraid of these mutants that they didn't understand. They didn't understand their powers. So for them, take it in consideration when it comes to the MCU. When strange things occur in the MCU, people are really stunned. They don't really know how to react to it. There's not a whole host of mutants running around when the world is attacked. It's only the Avengers that are there to save it. So, in the world of the X-Men, of course, if the world was attacked by, aliens or Thanos or whoever, you would be having all of those characters banding together and taking down Thanos. Would you really want that in the MCU? I would say no. I'd say even if you love the franchise, don't mix these two franchises together. They can all be under the same banner to a certain extent, but you have them in like an alternative reality. Which, of course, that is what a lot of people are believing that this Quicksilver is he's from, and maybe an alternate reality, where that she just kind of plucked him out of it and to cope with her pain. I just don't buy into that, though. There's too many things about his character that just doesn't add up. One, he actually has some of the memories of the Quicksilver from the MCU Quicksilver. I hated the line where he says that he died like a chump in the streets or something along those lines. That's not something that the original, or at least the MCU Quicksilver would have said. It's just not. That Quicksilver died saving Hawkeye in a child. He didn't die like a chump out in the streets. He died as a hero saving a child and one of his friends. That is just not how that Quicksilver would have even considered that. Another one is she says, what happened to your voice? He doesn't have that same thing to his voice, as that accent to his voice, as what her brother did. And she's very confused by that. She's like, well, if he's a creation that maybe I created, then how come he doesn't have that voice? And then, of course, he brings up to her, well, you don't have yours either, so stop asking questions. Another one is where he keeps referring to the children as demon spawn, or talking about hell. Another one is he remembers, he makes that comment right towards the end of the last episode where he says, well, Vision's dead, how can he die again? So don't worry about it. Your husband can't die again. Well, that's very odd because he wasn't around when Vision died. So how would he know through through his own memories that Vision had died? So another thing is of course there's some memories of their childhood that Wanda does not remember, and then he's like, well, you've repressed these memories or blah blah blah, all this other stuff. But the truth is that can't be the case. There's just too much about it. He goes and his very first scene, he goes and he asks who Vision is. Well, he should have known who Vision was since he was there when he was created. So there's no possible way that this Vision, this Quicksilver could actually be the Quicksilver that Wanda Maximoff knows. It's just not. But it also can't be a Quicksilver from an alternative world or the world of X-Men, simply because he does have some of the memories of this Quicksilver. Him constantly trying to antagonize her. There's some funny moments with this Quicksilver where that he is, it seems like he's joking with her. But if you really think about it, he's being really cruel to a certain extent. He's poking at her. He's basically, she's feeling guilty by what she has done to some of these people there. And he's just kind of poking at it like, I'm really impressed by, you doing this to these people. That is not what the Quicksilver, or, her Quicksilver would have ever have said. He would have been, he was an Avenger. He would have even have questioned his sister, found out what was going on, and if she was responsible behind it, he would have found some way to stop her. But this one is actually impressed that she's able to control these people the way that she's been doing. So there's just so many little things about him that just come off as maybe villainous. Him messing with her conscience, just antagonizing her enough to get a little bit of information out of her. It's very clear he's wanting to know more about her, and he goes out of his way to say, I'm not your husband, I'm not a stranger, so go ahead and tell me how you're really doing this. So there's so many, that aspect right there plays a huge role into determining exactly what his goals actually are. He's trying to say, hey, I'm not going to be like your husband. I'm not going to try to stop you. I'm going to let you continue doing what you're doing. I'm not going to mess with your world. I'm not going to change your viewpoint in that. I'm going to let you do what you got to do. And he also says, well, I'm not a stranger. Well, obviously he's someone that's pretending to be her brother as a means of letting her know, hey, to get close to her, to let her know that, hey, you can trust me. I'm your brother. So, there's these little things that just do not add up about this Pietro. I feel bad for Wanda in the regard that this is the one thing when it comes to her brother, she just does not understand. She hasn't questioned her children coming into the world. She hasn't questioned, when she says the words, I don't know exactly how I got here, or exactly how all of this happened around me. And I think I think to a certain extent she's being sincere. I think there's something about this world that was created around her that causes her to go in and out of understanding. Of course, you see that with Vision. You saw that in, I think it was episode 5, where, he's testing her, he's challenging her. Then Pietro shows up, and then the next episode, he kind of, is like back on good terms with her all of a sudden. So there's these little things where it seems like each time that something changes, they have to refine themselves, or understand this reality that they're in. And at first I could not figure it out. I'm like, if Wanda is the one that is controlling all of this, why is she constantly changing these into a different sitcom. I never understood that aspect. It never added up to me why she would be doing it. But I understand now a little bit more about why that could possibly be the case, in that this gave Pietro a reason to come into this world and to question her and to try to get a little bit more answers, just like Agnes's character is able to fit well into this world as a means of getting information out of her, or maybe causing her to how do I put it, to, when Agnes told Vision that that Monica Rambeau was not from this world, it was her way of cleansing that world of any outside influence. And I kind of feel like, and she's not feeling, of course we've not had any scenes with Agnes and Pietro yet, but obviously Agnes doesn't have a problem with him being there, so he's not some kind of outside force that she has brought in from, let's say, the X-Men world to hinder that process. I think if it was that way, I think Herb or Agnes would have had a problem with it. I really believe that this Pietro is either Mephisto or Nightmare. If I had to guess, I would say Mephisto, simply because of Billy and Tommy. It just makes sense for it to be him. Though, there is a certain bit of this that would kind of fit into Nightmare a little bit. But I think since Loki and some of these other series are going, and movies in Phase 4 are actually going to be dealing with Mephisto, I actually think it would make more sense for this to be Mephisto. But, we'll just have to see. But I will say this. I don't believe that this is the X-Men version of Quicksilver. I don't believe that this is the Quicksilver that we knew from the MCU. And I believe that this Quicksilver is somebody that is antagonistic to Wanda. And I think Wanda is slowly catching on. We'll have to see in next episode if something changes and she is back having to re-find herself, just like what Vision's probably going to be doing after his little escape attempt. So we'll just have to see. But overall, I would say, sorry guys, this is not the Quicksilver from the X-Men. This is not him. Billy and Tommy are not going to bring the X-Men into the world of the MCU. I just did not see that happening to begin with. That is too much of a dumpster fire, what the X-Men were, for them to even bring that world into this world. Plus, it doesn't make sense. WandaVision's parents, not WandaVision, but Wanda's and Pietro's parents were killed. She was not in the comics. In the world of X-Men, they were Magneto's kids. So obviously that was not the case when it comes to this, or at least this version of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. So I throw that aside, and I'm more focused on that this is either a villain, whether it be Mephisto or somebody along those lines or Nightmare, somewhere along those lines of trying to garner information out of her. I think they're behind a lot of what's going on WandaVision. I just believe that they still don't really know how to control her powers. But I do believe that they do have her under their spell to a certain extent. I really do believe that's what Herb is there for when he makes that comment, do you want something changed? I think that's what Agnes is there for. I think Agnes was playing Vision in this last episode. So we'll just have to see, but that's my take on it. I think at the end of the day, I think this Quicksilver is going to be the main antagonist of the series. But we'll just have to see. As always, guys, thanks for watching. And y'all take care.